Hi, everyone. My name is Giles, and I'm the SVP for Digital Media here at Trellis Group. And with me today, I have Duko Hopman from McKinsey. Now, Duko began working on nature and biodiversity when he was about 5 years old. That's when he was a WWF Ranger, which is a bit like being in the Scouts. He's now a trained epidemiologist, and he advises McKinsey clients in the public and private sectors on all things nature and biodiversity. Duko, welcome to your executive interview.
Thank you very much, Jim.
So I'm going to dive straight in with a word game. And the way this works, I'm going to give you a word or a phrase, and I want you to give me your instant reaction. And I mean instant. Let's do it. Number one, COP16.
Colombia.
Biodiversity credits.
Moonshot.
Regenerative agriculture.
Uncertain.
The EU's regulation on deforestation-free products.
Good start.
The Amazon.
In crisis.
Your backyard.
Not wild enough.
But not in crisis.
Not in crisis.
Let's just go back to biodiversity credits. I think you said moonshot. Just expand on that for us.
So the notion that we don't value nature appropriately, and that as a result of that, it often loses out against the opportunity cost. I take a piece of forest and its opportunity cost of not being a farm. That is, of course, a problem. And I think everyone's instinct on this is very similar, that if we could pay for the ecosystem services, if we could value the ecosystem services of the standing forest, then we wouldn't lose out against the opportunity cost, the alternative, so often, and we would stop deforestation or the loss of intact ecosystems. Biodiversity credits are a very interesting way of trying to create valuation and value and monetization for intact nature. It remains to be seen whether corporates will actually pay for those biodiversity credits under voluntary trading schemes. And that's why I'm saying moonshot. I think currently the demand for biodiversity credits isn't there. And the close analog to this, the carbon credits in the voluntary carbon markets, have never really taken off to the scale that would be required to truly solve this planetary problem.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy. And if you look at what's happened in carbon credits over the last year or two, it's not really an encouraging sign for what's next with biodiversity credits. But that's super interesting. Thank you for your reply. Let's move on. I have another game for you. You open up your inbox. There's a new message at the top. It's from someone you don't know, but the sender is the person who, out of everyone in the world, you would most like to hear from. Who is that person, and what is their message about?
Fascinating thought experiment. The governments of either Indonesia, DRC, or Brazil reaching out to actively ask if I could help them figure out how to fully implement the global biodiversity framework, that would be amongst the most exciting emails to get. And so maybe I would say the Minister of Environment in DRC asking for help to get this done.
Great. I love it. This next section is called the brag. This is like a straight up moment where you get to talk about an achievement that you are particularly proud of. What would you like to share with us?
Yeah, it would definitely be in that same corner of work with governments in the global south. We've worked with governments in Africa, in Latin America, in Asia to do exactly that, to help them implement the global biodiversity framework, including that very ambitious target 3 of protecting 30% of land and ocean by 2030. Now I have the benefit that I never really need to brag. I work with clients, with governments that really do the hard work here, and I help them. I help them with advice and analytics and spatial planning and such. But they really do the hard work, and nothing is better for me than to see them up on stage at COP16, for example, in Colombia in a month from now, bragging about what they achieved implementing these very ambitious targets in their countries.
Despite my setup, I couldn't make you brag. You're going to get someone else to brag on your behalf. But I totally see where you're coming from. And I hope that happens at COP16 coming up soon. And that's a perfect intro to our next section, which is called the Magic Wand. There's two crucial sets of negotiations coming up, COP16 in Colombia, and then, of course, the climate COP in Azerbaijan. I'm giving you a magic wand. You get to wave it. And as a result, you can secure one single outcome from either of those negotiations, one specific outcome. What would you like that to be?
A magic wand it's very tempting to go for truly magical outcomes. If I stay in the realm of the hopefully slightly realistic, I would say that what I would love to see this year at both COPs is a stronger focus on food systems for both biodiversity loss as a challenge and climate breakdown as a challenge. I think it's often overlooked. I think especially for the biodiversity COP, I think we need to start paying much more attention to our food systems and making much more deliberate choices. Currently, something like half the world's arable, usable land is in use for agriculture, and some 80% of that for livestock agriculture. Livestock consumption is projected to keep going up as more people around the world enter the middle class, maybe by as much as 80% through 2050. If you extrapolate those kind of numbers, then we're talking truly, literally unsustainable outcomes, right? It's unsustainable in the sense that it cannot be sustained.
Thank you, Duko. And I agree. The whole topic of food systems has been so late to these international negotiations, and I really hope that changes. Okay, now I'm going to let you go in a minute, but before I do that, I would love to get some recommended reading from you. But I would love you to focus on something that changed the way that you think about nature and biodiversity.
Well, it may be because we were just talking about land use and food systems, but I would definitely recommend George Monbiot's Regenesis. Spectacular book, very well researched, and very eye opening on specifically this front. And it ends in some very detailed and somewhat hopeful conclusions and recommendations as well that we can all act on.
Thank you so much, Duko. I thought that was super interesting, and big thanks for the audience for staying with us today. Do join us here at trellis.net in the future for more executive interviews. Bye for now.